Hello coin jammers and welcome to another video. This one we are going to cover some of the new releases that have come out in the last week or two. It's been a bit of a flurry. We weren't expecting a huge amount initially because the Royal Australian Mint released notice that they were only having one new release on the first Monday of the month, but it quickly became apparent that Perth Mint were following the next day with their new releases, which is not terribly unusual. But then there was a surprise release from the Royal Mint, and there was an additional release from the Royal Mint, and then there was some show specials, and basically we've got a bumper issue of new releases. So without further ado, I will start to take you through them. So a bit of a stealth release, as it wasn't really pre-advertised, was an investment coin, as RAM like to call it. If you hear me say RAM and you don't know what I mean the Royal Australian Mint. It's a bit of a mouthful, but RAM's a lot easier. So they call this an investment coin. They don't call it a bullion coin, as others might do, but for all intents and purposes, it is a bullion coin in the sense that the price you pay for it is based on the current, what they call spot price of silver or gold at the time you buy it. And the idea is that it's for investing, and that's why they call it an investment coin. But it is obviously designed, and as many bullion coins are. So it does have a collectible value as well. Now, the reason they haven't called it a bullion coin is that bullion coins tend to be minted with a slightly lower quality of process, because they're not designed to be necessarily put on display. A lot of bullion coins are bought in big tubes of lots and lots of them and just stored away in a safe to be kept until the price is right for them to sell them on again. So they don't put the same necessary effort into it. But with the RAM release, they're calling it a brilliant uncirculated finish, or BU for short, which is confusing because you might think BU stands for bullion. It doesn't. It stands for brilliant uncirculated, which is their way of saying this isn't your run-of-the-mill bullion coin. There's a quality to the minting process. And yeah, so this is an interesting design of obviously the Australia map there, and then the Southern Cross. It is apparently based on a draft design done by Stuart Devlin, who's designed most of the circulating coins in Australia. And it comes in both a $1 silver 1 ounce and $100 gold 1 ounce. Like I say, prices vary. The $100 one you won't see in many places other than the RAM, but the silver dollar is available to dealers. I may be corrected, the gold one may be available from dealers, but obviously it's a pricier purchase. But if you want to buy it from the RAM, their shop will say, call us to order, and you'll have to phone up and they will quote you a price based on the current value of the metals, and then you'll proceed with the order if you're happy with it. Dealers will more likely not have the facility to do that, or will not want to do that, so they will probably pick a RRP fixed price for their shop, and I've seen them vary based on shop to shop. It might vary on how many they were able to order, how many they got, or what they feel is fair, but I've seen prices from $40 to $45 to $50. And it may be that they got a sliding scale discount based on how many they bought, which is worked out into how they price it. So that's that one. And it's interesting because they released the Sumatran Tiger investment coin last month. So it'll be interesting to see whether this is a pattern they intend to keep doing. But yes, an interesting one that kicked off the slew of new releases. Soon after that, there was a new PNC released from Ozpost, and with a Perth Mint coin. Now, this is part of the celebration of 250 years since the Endeavour voyage, and is accompanied by a whole series of stamps and other products as well. But obviously, us coin fans are interested in the PNC first and foremost, and there's a nicely designed coin that goes with it. and there's also a Medallion Pnc with a slightly more limited release, and there's some examples of the stamps. An interesting thing they've done with the stamps is they've each stamp has been split into two half stamps of 55 cents each, making up the 110 regular stamp price, which they are stating is a first in coin collecting terms. So it's possible that the stamps themselves could be attractive to collectors, and because those stamps feature on the PNCs, they could also be desirable. The PNC, I should mention, is limited to 6,500, and limited PNCs always tend to do well. So there's some things. You can get those from the AusPost shop still, and obviously they're always free post from their shop, so that's something to consider. And then we had the weekend where the Brisbane and a coin show was due to be held the first weekend of May, but unfortunately, due to the current situation, it was cancelled. Now, they do 4 shows around Australia during the year, Perth and Brisbane and Melbourne and Sydney. No word yet on the next 2. Perth happened earlier in the year, so fingers crossed the other 2 go ahead. But as is typical, each year they release a special $1 coin at each show that form part of a set of 4. And this year's theme is the native birds to the states. There was the black swan for Perth, and we've yet to be confirmed what the next 2 will be. But we have the Brolga one here for Brisbane. And as you can see in the picture there, the tiny little privy mark, which is a indented mark on the coin, but it's made at the time of pressing the coin, and it comes on a little credit card sized card, and was available directly from ANDA and via some dealers as well. Not too many got their hands on it though. The Perth one sold out pretty rapidly. Obviously the Perth show went ahead, so they sold out their allocation at the show, and then a few dealers had some immediately following the show, but they sold out pretty rapidly as well. It's limited to 3,000 each show's coin, so that's partly why and it's only $15, so RRP, so it's very popular, and so popular that you may struggle to find one, even though I'm only recording this video a week after it was released. So one to keep an eye on. You can also get a folder to put all 4 in if you manage to collect all 4. So yes, and alongside that was a Perth Mint Kookaburra coin. Now this was also made available at the Perth show, and we presume will be at the next 2 shows as well. But again, to differentiate the exclusive at each show, there is a privy mark. And in this case, it's actually a colour privy mark for a native flower of the state. And this one for Brisbane is the Cooktown Orchid. Now, this is a 1 ounce fine silver coin, and it has a Kookaburra design, which is celebrating Perth Mint is celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Kookaburra coins this year. So you can see the 30th anniversary text along there, and on the reverse you've got a special reverse there with a reduced size effigy and further design work. So it's quite a nice year to be collecting these. That one was priced at $60 if you got it from ANDA directly on the weekend of the show, but $65 otherwise afterwards, or from other places, though I have seen higher prices now since that happened. And that was limited to 2,000. So yeah, again, not too many. Obviously, it's not vastly different from a coin you could obtain another way. There's the regular version with no privy marks available, as well as the other show versions. And you know, it's Perth Mint, so it doesn't always get quite the same rush of collectors as maybe a RAM release would do, but it's still, you know, a pretty tight limited release. So, and a pretty nice coin in our opinion. Then we had this one, the 75th anniversary of World War II released a $2 coin earlier this year, and because of the coronavirus situation, that has not yet emerged into circulation, even though that's their intent. But because there hasn't been any shows, they haven't been able to do the traditional swaps where you can come in and give some of your money and swap it for some of the new coins for, face value to face value. So no one really has a lot of these coins. They did release the C-Mint on a card, and that sold very well and is pretty much sold out now as I speak. And there was the rolls of coins, which are exceedingly expensive now due to collectors desiring them very much, and only 5,000 of those rolls came out. Then the regular version of this PNC you see here came out, and that sold out very quickly and started to go for crazy money very soon afterwards. And there was, again, I think 6,000 or 7,000 of those, or 6,500 perhaps. So when they announced they were doing an exclusive show version of this, which was limited to 500, people were very excited, and naturally, it was extremely in high demand and sold out, I believe, on the official and a store. From my experience and from others' experience that I've heard feedback from, they literally sold out within 1 minute. And it's amazing that their site didn't crash doing that, because they sold 2 versions. They were intended to be given away at the first day of the show, and then a different batch on the second day of the show. So the postmark has a different date, as you'll see in this photo. And normally when you go to a show, if you want both, you have to go to both shows and you have to hope you get one both times. But this time you bought them as a pair, and not only that, but you bought them as a matching serial number pair. So both of your day 1 and day 2 would have the same exact serial number, which is something that you probably would be near impossible to achieve in any other year or any other show. Hence the high demand, and hence why we can expect these to be worth 5 times their value within a few days, and probably more than that. So that was the show specials. Then we came, Monday rolled around, and we had the official RAM release. Now this is the one they had announced ahead of time that was happening, and this is the Emu in the Sky. So this is a ½ ounce coin, but they've done it slightly differently. It's actually closer to the diameter you'd expect of a 1 ounce coin, but thinner, which is nice because it's given them more room to do the design. Some of the ½ ounce coins they've done have ended up being quite small and hard to see if you don't get up close, whereas this one's got quite a nice broad surface to use. And they've done this detailed coloured element to the coin. So it's 1 ounce silver with colour, and it's represented the Emu in the Sky, which is it's not a constellation. It's a shape that the indigenous Australians would see in the sky as a kind of shape formed by the general flow of stars, or the absence of stars in that shape that they see in the sky. And what's interesting here is that they're calling it the Star Dreaming series, which suggests obviously that there will be more to come. So there's possibly a slightly higher audience for this coin, because collectors know that the first one in the series can often end up being the most desirable, because people get the second or the third and realize there were more, and they go back and try and find them, and the first one is a bit scarce by then, so the demand goes up. So that was an interesting one. 5,000 mintage, so small but not too small, so you should still be able to get your hands on this quite easily. It was $70 RRP, so quite a lot for ½ ounce, but obviously they have put some effort there with the colour and making it a larger but thinner coin. So yeah, take a look at that if you like. Then on the same day, again unannounced, was a new 50 cent. Now this was a collaboration with Downies, the large dealer, long-standing dealer in this country, and it celebrates, as you can see, Skippy the kangaroo, the bush kangaroo. So it's a 50th anniversary commemorative coin with color, and they've clearly, you know, stuck to that era's design with the card and the coin. Now, this is stated as being a 20,000 mintage, which is reasonably low for a 50-cent coin, but there's also going to be, coming later in May, a PNC with the same coin on it, and there's 6,500 of those, and that 6,500 is counted in the 20,000 mintage, so there'll actually be, you know, a lot less of these cards than 20,000. So this is another one that has gone very, very popular, and again, easy entry point at $15 for the coin, and you can see them going for 4 times that on eBay. So if you can find one, get your hands on one of these, and I'm going to have to start doing these videos a lot sooner than a week later, clearly, because I don't want to sit here and tell you that they've all sold out everywhere. We are hoping to get, we have got our hands on some of these, so we will be putting those, some of those on for sale. Some of them are pre-allocated, but we keep an eye out for that in the future. Then after the Royal Australian Mints releases, we got Perth Mints releases the next day. So they have an additional, last month did quite a few of their own version of the World War II ending commemoration, but this month they had one extra one to add to the set, and that is a 1/10 of an ounce silver coin. And it's actually a 10-cent coin because it's so small. And it's got a design that kind of the peace dove and the wreath that kind of is very similar to some of the designs of their larger coins they did last month. This one comes on a card and is only $15, so obviously still $15 spot price wise would buy you almost a whole ounce. So well, yeah, not quite, but it would get you a lot more than a 1/10 of an ounce. So again, it's more for those that want it for the design, but it's a unique idea to do something like this. Normally you only see, you know, real fraction coins for gold where it becomes attractive because of the value of gold, but interesting approach. So there was that one, and then they continued their Gilded Kangaroo series with a new 2020 coin. So pretty straightforward. It's a 1 ounce silver with selectively gold-plated design of kangaroos on it. Quite nice, and comes with the typical nice display that you get from Perth Mint. And as I say, that's not the first in the series. So if you're collecting those, there's another one to collect. And if you find this one for the first time, there's more to go back and find. They also did a few other animal ones. You've got an Australian emu, 1 ounce. Not coloured, this one, but similar in display. And then an interesting one here, a 2 ounce Kookaburra mother and baby coin, and this was 2 ounces, but it's a Piedfort. And Piedfort means same diameter but thicker depth. So basically, it would look like head on, it will look like a 1 ounce coin, but it'll actually go twice as far down because it's like two stacked on top of each other, basically. So that was an interesting one, and that one had a pretty fair price point of I think around the $60 mark, and I don't have it written down, so I'm sorry, but sorry, yes, it was $63.50. I saw it at. So that was pretty good for 2 ounce coin. I mean, it is stated as an investment / bullion coin, so that would explain that, but still pretty good value. But I believe the place I saw that sold out. So have a look. Then we also got another PNC, and this is for the Afghan Cameliers 50 cent that came out last month, but now in a PNC version, which is good. There was a more limited edition available as well, which was only a handful made for a different show, and but this is the standard one that you can get still right now, I believe, from Ozpost. I think it's $18, and I believe it's limited as well. So That's another PNC lovers are having a field day this month, that's for sure. And that was it from Australia. But we also had from I'd like to kind of just touch on the New Zealand Mint, because I'm a bit of a geek fan of movies and TV, and they do a lot of stuff in that area. And this month they've been marking the 40th anniversary of the Empire Strikes Back, the second of the original Star Wars trilogy, released in 1980. And obviously there's a ton of merchandise in all genres being released this year for this. But Performant have released one of their poster coins. They've done a series of these. They started off with the original trilogy, and then they did the prequel trilogy, and then they did the sequel trilogy, and then just last month they did a second version of a Star Wars poster, because the first one was so popular. And now we have this one just a month later. And it's a 1 ounce silver coin with a color poster in a rectangular format. It comes with a nice clear Perspex block display, and it's limited to 1980 items, so 1,980 to indicate the 1980 year it came out. And a lot of New Zealand Mint stuff doesn't sell out necessarily, or doesn't sell out that quickly, but some stuff, when it's a tight mintage of a popular topic, definitely can do. And on that, they did another set, which was a 1 ounce colored round coin that came in a beautiful presentation pack, facing I think it's 5 gram silver kind of note coin. So it's like a note in that it's thin and paper-like, but it's actually legal currency as a coin. So they've done a few of these, but this was one of the first sets they've done of coin and foil together in one thing, and this has sold out from everywhere I've seen within a week. So I think this was not cheap either, $225 I think, but the packaging and the uniqueness of it has driven that desirability, and sales have been good. And then more recently they've announced another Year of the Mouse, Mickey Mouse coin. So another 1 ounce colored coin, which is in part of a series, and that's limited to 3,000. So not too many of those. Mickey Mouse is always popular. And then just a couple of days ago, they announced a Mortal Kombat coin, which I can't cover everything that New Zealand does, but this one I thought was particularly cool because of the the arcade machine box that they've put it in. They're always very creative with their packaging, and really like some of the ideas that they put out there. Obviously, this is not for everybody, but the fans of this sort of thing, of that sort of age, will probably love it. And yeah, so I bump a couple of weeks of releases. My head's still spinning from it all, really. But there we go, and I hope you enjoyed that. Comment below if you have any thoughts on any of the things that I've shown. If you've ordered or got your hands on any of them, I'd love to hear from you. And do please subscribe if you want to see more coin videos. We've got more stuff lined up to show you and to tell you about in the near future. So thanks for watching.